Hey, y'all. Welcome to our halftime live chat for LSU. As you could see, LSU is trailing 14-17 to Mississippi State at the half of their home opener. My name is Jeff Nowak, digital sports producer for The Advocate and NOAA.com. This live chat is brought to you by Creed and Creed, the law offices in Louisiana. So if we'll get this started in a few seconds with some first half highlights from the game so far. And if you have any questions you'd like to throw into the comments, feel free to toss them in and I'll see if I can get those answered. But without further ado, let's get these highlights rolling. They're mostly photos, but I got some clips in there. We got some Tiger Walk going on. And from a diminished capacity Baton Rouge football game that was a little weird to get started. But here we got the Tiger Walk. It's a lot quieter than you're probably used to. So first, let's go through some stats. Obviously, Miles Brennan got off to a bit of a rough start, but he picked it up at the end there. He finished the first half 9 for 18, 119 yards and a touchdown. Had a couple nice throws there. A nice touchdown pass to Eric Gilbert. It was probably not the most let's say safe decision to throw that pass off his back foot in the end zone, but it worked out. He had another nice throw to who was it? Ray Jenkins. Sorry, I'm having trouble keeping up with all the new names this year. He finished the first half with 2 catches for 54 yards. But here, and you'll see in the video, we're going to go through some photos. As you can see, Ed Ogeron's masked up there. He finished his interview with the standard "Go Tigers," but not a ton of excitement early on in this game, and the crowd noise, some of the cardboard cutouts, wasn't what you're used to. But they got going in the second quarter. LSU trailed 3-0 after the first quarter, but had a lot of trouble moving the ball. Mississippi State had one sustained drive early in the game, but they really didn't get a ton done until a bit later on. KJ Costello finished the first half with 292 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 1 really kind of ugly interception, a pick 6 to Jabril Cox, who had an excellent start to the game. He finished the first half with 3 tackles and that 1 pass breakup, and obviously that pick 6. Ali Gay had a really nice first half, 2 tackles for loss, 3 pass breakups. He had 1 ball he batted down at the line. And despite kind of a uneven start for the Tigers there, I think you have to be encouraged with how they looked. You have to remember this is a team that basically had to start from scratch this season. The only real notable players coming back on defense, you have Jacoby Stevens, obviously, but then you have a couple players. Derek Stingley didn't play today. Glenn Logan isn't playing today. And that's, I think what you're seeing is a lot of that. You have guys returning in Todd Harris and a few other guys, but these guys are getting a lot of their action. And it's a trial by fire to an extent because you didn't get that kind of cupcake early in the season. You're kicking off directly with Mississippi State in your season opener, which is just there's a reason you schedule UT San Antonio. We got a comment from Mark Chambers here. 0 offense out of sync. I'm not sure what sync is. The last TD was a gift. I don't know about a gift. I mean, the throw itself, you could say he probably shouldn't have made it, but I think the way Miles Brennan kind of responded to march down the field there at the end, you have to be encouraged by that. He had a really rough start, and I'll loop back through this video here so you can get some of those images again. But he had a really rough start, but he settled in, and they were moving the ball at the end of the first half. They got the ball back with about a minute remaining, and they weren't able to get into scoring territory. But I think you're going to see a much more confident Miles Brennan coming out in the second half. Now, what you worry about with Miles Brennan is making the decisions in the pocket in his first start with LSU. And he had a couple where you probably like to see him get out of bounds, or I think the first drive, I think it was third down, he was trying to stretch that out and get a first down, but he really didn't have a chance, and he ended up taking a big hit. And that's not what you want to see. But he showed a lot of resolve coming back with that touchdown drive. And that's really what you want to see from him. You're not going to expect him to come out and be Joe Burrow. He said all week, that's not the story he's writing. He's writing his own. And you saw a lot of differences between what Joe Burrow could do and what Miles Brennan is going to do. And Miles Brennan really needs to rely on his arm strength. When you look at what he's done so far, I think that throw to Jared Jenkins was really encouraging. Let's see. We got some more comments rolling in here. Rough start. The only thing I seen that worried me was the line and Brennan not noticing the pressure off the tackles. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. And the line has been completely rebuilt from a year ago. So that's just something you're going to have to deal with. And again, you schedule UT San Antonio for the first game of the season for a reason. It's not because you really want to play UT San Antonio. It's because, there's no preseason in college football. That's basically the preseason. If you say NFL teams have looked kind of rough after not having a preseason, college is in the same boat, maybe even more so, because these are not professional athletes. These are guys that you have to teach, and they didn't have that. And that offensive line, I think they gave up a decent amount of pressure, but you're really looking for improvement there. It's easy to lose focus of the fact that last year's LSU team is not the LSU team you can expect every time out. But I think you'll be a little more encouraged in the second half. Let's see. We got some more comments coming in. Miles looked like he's not comfortable in the pocket. Aaron Smith Tebow here. He's not set when he's throwing. He's not getting through his reads quickly enough. I don't know about that. I think that might have been the case early. I think he got some happy feet early on, but he settled in a lot more in the second quarter. And I think he ran that last drive about as well as you could. You can't do much about your knees getting brought down inbounds. That's what hurt them on that last drive. He was trying to get out of bounds, and the Mississippi State defender made a great tackle and kept him in bounds. But I agree. So the other part of this is they're talking about the run game. The run game needs to be better. Chris Curry and John Emery really need to get going. Chris Curry had 3 carries for 12 yards. Tyrion Davis-Price had 4 carries for 15 yards. You really need to lean on that a lot more when you're talking about a brand new quarterback, a brand new offensive line, and a lot of receivers who are thrust into roles they haven't been in years past. Need a QB that can step up and pass. I think he's that guy. I think Miles Brennan is that guy that can step up and pass. And he needs to do that in the second half. He needs to be more aggressive in hitting those early reads. Terrace Marshall needs to get more involved. I think that they talked about the RPO on the broadcast. I wouldn't be surprised to see them bring a little more RPO action in the second half. Kyle Whitfield, friend of the program. Everyone will want to blame Miles for that first half, but the offensive line is doing him no favors. Is very true. 5 LSU offensive linemen were drafted in April. 5. That's an entire offensive line. They have 1 offensive lineman coming back, and Austin Deculus, I believe. And that's not easy. That's not easy to overcome, especially in a season where you don't have that cupcake start. So it's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It's going to take coaching. And the second half is going to tell you a lot about where this team is. They're down 3 points. LSU being down at the half is something that you have not seen in 2 years? I mean, they didn't trail in games once last year. And I don't blame fans for being a little forgetful about what it feels like to have an LSU team losing at halftime. But let's see. Let's go through some more comments here. Some coming in. Another one from friend of the program, Kyle Whitfield. 31 points and 560 yards in Pelini's debut in 2005 at Arizona State. Well, this isn't the Pac-12, Kyle. This is SEC football. But I think it's a good point. I mean, the LSU defense is also something we haven't talked about. Jacoby Stevens and Jabril Cox have had a great start to this game. They're very active. Jacoby Stevens recovered a fumble. It was a gift because KJ Costello didn't know the ball was coming into his chest, and Jacoby jumped on it. But he had a nice sack earlier in the game. Jabril Cox has been really active. I think the LSU defense has tackled well. Again, without a ton of experience, and a lot of these guys are in positions they haven't been in before. And I think that you saw a lot to be encouraged by and a lot to question. Let's see. Looks like some of the players are cardboard cutouts. That's a good one. That's a good one, Marcia. That's I don't know about that, but I think that in general, the team is playing with high energy. It's just you've seen a lot of silly mistakes. You've seen a lot of free yardage handed over. They pinned Mississippi State inside the 10 on a punt, and they got called for, I can't remember, I want to say it was illegal formation. They covered the tackle at the end of the line, and you can't do that in that formation. And they had to repunt, and they got the ball at the 15. I think they went 3 and out, but that's the type of play. It's just you can't give them just 10 free yards, and that's just a sign that you're looking at a team that is very raw. Let's see. What's the score? The score is 17-14 Mississippi State at halftime. Sorry, I think I said that at the top, but it's LSU gets the ball to start the second half, and I think you're going to want to see them get a little more aggressive in the run game. You're going to want to see them get one of these guys. I mean, you could look at any of these players in Tyrion Davis-Price, Chris Curry, and John Emery and say this guy needs to be more effective. It's going to be interesting to see how that breaks down both through the rest of this game and throughout the season, because all three of those guys have a claim to be the lead back. And if they go with a hot hand scenario, Chris Curry is a guy who I think he looked really, really sharp early on. His nickname is Beast Mode for a reason. He kind of has that Marshawn Lynch style. And you want to see one of those guys get going. You want to see one of those guys start rolling up first downs and making it a bit easier on I keep trying to call him Joe Burrow, on Miles Brennan as he drops into that, as he drops back and tries to get guys like Terrace Marshall more involved. Terrace Marshall has 2 catches, 22 yards. Eric Gilbert's leading the team in targets. He has 5, 3 catches, 32 yards in that kind of jump ball touchdown. And we'll see what happens in the second half. Okay, Mark Chambers is the last one here. Hope the blocking and tackling is better in the second half. I actually thought the tackling was good, but I agree the blocking left a lot to be desired. And that some of that's on Miles Brennan, some of that's on the young offensive line. But all right, we're getting back close to the second half. I appreciate anyone who tuned in. Again, this is sponsored by Creed and Creed, serious attorneys for serious injuries, the Creed and Creed law firm. And thanks for giving us that sponsorship. And until we kind of kicked into a autoplay video there, but I'll let you get back to the action. Thanks for anyone who tuned in. Thanks for anyone who asked the question, and we'll see y'all at halftime next week. Peace.